Okay, so here we go. I'm going to be bringing in the uh, the sketch from Canvas, and I'm going to be bringing in my orthographic drawing. And so that is going to be this item right here. And so I've opened up Canvas, and so I am at the home menu here, at the home in 3D, and I'm gonna click on my front view. And so what I need to do is bring in my sketch. And so the way that I do that is I go to Insert and I go to Canvas. And so insert from my computer, it's in my downloads, open. And so what it wants to know is where you're going to put this, right? And so this is going to be on this plane right here. And that's my front view. And I'll just say, for now, I'll put OK. All right. So let's see what happened here. Apologize for the little delay in all this. All right. So let's kind of come back to my home menu. All right. So there it is. There is my sketch right there. And I put it on the side view. So I want to model this view, and I also want to model the top view kind of all at the same time. So what's going to happen here is before I proceed much further, what I need to do is I need to scale this, right? So we have no idea the scale. In my drawing, I said, okay, I want this to be about 6 inches. So I'm going to go here to my canvas and I'm going to say calibrate. And so it's actually really easy to use. I just click on what I want the size to be. So I want that to be 6 inches. All right. So I just type in 6 and I scroll out and it's at 6 inches. Now I want to make sure that I'm in inches, and I am. If I'm not, I just click and I can make it something else. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this. So I'll go right click and I'll say, I should just be able to move it by right clicking it. I can go edit feature and I can just move this. And I'm kind of making this is my X and Y plane, and I'm just putting it there. It'll be easier to do it that way. Okay, so that's cool. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the top view. So let's go. Here's my home view, and I'll say exactly what I did before. Insert canvas, and I'll select the same object, my sketch. Okay. And this time I want to put it on my my top view. So I'm going to click this, that right there. And hold on, please. Okay. And so there it is. And I'll say, okay. And I'll do the exact same thing I did before. Now you'll notice it's really small. That's okay. So I can right click on it either on the bottom or here. And I say edit canvas, and I can rotate it. And then let's move. I'm working on the top here. So I'm actually going to put it right in the center because I can, when I model this thing, I can make it so it goes both ways. All right. So there it is. And I'm going to say, that's great. Now I need to scale it. So inspect, so right click here, calibrate. And I said, this is going to be 6 inches, 6. All right, scroll out with my mouse. I need to remove it. I probably should have calibrated afterwards. Edit canvas. I'm just going to move it so it's right in the middle. All right. So there it is. And I'll say, okay. So I've got this drawing in there. Right. Might look a little confusing. I'll just turn this top. I could turn the top one off if I wanted to. So we're just going to now work on this thing. And so it's actually really cool the way this works. So I'm in design. Before, we used to make like objects and extrude it, but you'll notice that there's this create form on the top, and I can just click on it, and it wants to know, all right, so where do you want to put it? So I've got this origin highlighted, right? So it's on, and I'm just going to click that orange thing, and then I'm going to select this box form. And so if you look on the right, it says 2-point or center. I'll go 2-point, and I'm just going to click one corner of it and click on about the other corner here. All right. And so there's this shape that it gives me. All right. It's like this little blob, but I can very easily work with it. So a couple things I'm going to do. I want this to be, I want to mirror this. And what that means is when I work on the left side, it's going to work on the right side. So, imagine a car. If you were sculpting the left side of the car, You'd want the right side to be the same. So what I do is in this box here, I click mirror. And then if you just click on this, you'll see like this green line length. I don't want the left and right, so I don't want that one. I don't want the width, which is essentially, this would be top and bottom. So what I want is this height. And so you'll see there's a green line running through this thing. All right. And so it's a new body, and I'll say, oh, okay. And so there it is. And so, you know, all I'm going to do now is take this shape, and I can do all sorts of really cool things. So I'm going to take this shape, and I'm going to just edit it, right click and edit it, and watch what I can do very easily. I can just start to manipulate it. I can rotate it around. You just have to be careful that you don't fold it into itself. Otherwise, it'll give you a weird error message. So I folded that. So now what's happening, though, if you look at it in 3D, is whatever I do on that side is happening on the other side at the same time. And so that's pretty cool, right? And so now what I'm going to do, and really what we're doing today, is just kind of cleaning this up. And so I'm going to show you a couple features here, right? So there's this. Now I can go to the back here and do the same kind of thing. You're going to notice that it doesn't all line up. I can, you know, the same way that I moved the object, I can just move the object. You know, this top, if you look through it, you can see where it needs to come down. So I grab this, and just kind of like clay, you can manipulate it. I'm not going to worry about all these sharp edges. We can make that happen very easily. But for what we're doing really on this exercise, we're just going to make a basic shape. All right. So I'm just clicking this thing and moving it up and around. Now you're going to see, like, here's a problem, right? Because if I pull this up, then I've all the other part is leaving. So something that you would do for that is you would create more splines. And the way you do that is you basically just double click this line, and you can either right click or generally you go to modify up here, and let's do that again, double click here and say modify, and I'm going to insert what's called an edge, and I can move it to one side or the other or both. And so I'm going to move it right there. I'm going to say okay. And then what I can do then is, now when I bring this up, I'll have a little bit more control. So maybe what I'll do is at the same time, let's do the other side here. So I'll go here and I'll say modify, insert edge, and I'll bring it out this way. All right. And I'll say okay. And so now what I can do is I can start to grab this, right click and say edit form, and I can just move things up, and it's a little bit better. Right. So honestly, that's about the extent. You know, you can play around with this more. And so, you know, what I might also do on this is, if you wanted to, so let's, you know, I could finish this form and say, oh, that's pretty cool, right? But if I wanted to also kind of do the top view, I could click on the top button here, and then I would turn on my top sketch. And be like, uh-oh, like it's skinnier up front. So what I would do here then is I would go back to I could either right click on here. This is kind of like this timeline down here. I could either right click on here, or you can do it on the object, but I'm going to right click and say edit. And so what I want to do is like maybe move this in a little bit, these points. So edit form, and I could just kind of move these things in. And again, you just got to be careful that you don't you fold it into itself. Like if it folds, it won't really, it'll give you an error message. And so you just kind of play around with it, making something that you like. And really that's the extent of this part of it, right? So this is where you can have a lot of fun designing. And this is why it's important that you draw your concept first, because you can get very lost in this software. Just, you know, and if you're trying to design the objects, it can get really confusing. So I'm going to turn these off. And so there's kind of the basic shape of it for what we're doing this right now. I think the last thing I'll do here is I think I will put this utility blade in here. And so the blade would go, I would say, kind of like what we were doing initially with these lines. I click here, click on where I want to put it on the front view. And then I'm just going to click this line tool, and I'll start, you know, maybe here, come down. And so utility blades are actually they look kind of like this. And it doesn't really have to be all that perfect. And then, all right. And then I want to finish the sketch. And then I'm going to extrude this thing. So, because right now it's just lines. So the cool thing is because I put the thing in the center, it's right in the center of the object. So now I'm going to do just like, maybe you would extrude legs. I'm going to just extrude it. But the only thing difference I'm going to do is I'm going to have it go two-sided. All right. And I want to make sure it's a new body. And I could just, grab it if I want. Or that's a little thick for utility blade, maybe 0.02. And so I'm not going to worry about the taper or anything today. So 0.02 going both ways, and then just say, okay. Oh, you know what I did? What I did was I did subtract. I didn't look very carefully. I actually cut out that little groove in there, which is fine. So this time let's actually make sure it's on new body. So I'll do the same thing. What I just did is we cut out a hole. We don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. So I'll just go ahead and make my my utility knife blade. I'll be a little bit more careful here. And then I say finish sketch. And then this time I'm going to extrude it like I did last time. We're going to go two-sided, symmetrical. Actually, the symmetrical, you want two-sided symmetrical. I'm not sure I did the last one. And the distance going to be like 0.02. And I can look at this as I'm doing it. And then I'll say, make sure it's not, last time it was cut. We want to just say new body. And then I say, okay. All right. And so I've created this new body here. So this, this is the utility knife body, and this is, I could maybe say blade. All right. So that's pretty cool. So now all I'm going to do is just save it. So let's save this. I'm going to save this as a utility blade. And I'm just going to put the date. All right, and I'll say save it. And now I'm just going to do a quick rendering, and then I'll basically be done with it. So go to design, go to render, and I want to turn this off. I don't need all that. And then just in the top ribbon going from left to right, let's pick the material of this object. So pick the material. All right, let's, before I do the environment, let's do it's not coming on. Why is it not coming on? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, so you've got lots of materials to choose from. I mean, I don't know if you want to make it liquid or leather, but I'll just go ahead and I'm going to make this aluminum. So I go metal. Where was that metal? And I'm just going to do, like, there's all sorts of things. I'm going to just do this blue glossy aluminum. I'll just click on there. And then what I will do is, I could do the blade too. So maybe I'll do the blade. Let's kind of zoom in. I'll select this blade and I'll do the appearance of this, and I'll make this like steel or something. So you can play around steel. All right, maybe something with a finish. And then the last thing I'm going to do before I render this is I'm going to put my logo on it, and you're going to put your logo on it too. So what you do is you basically click this decal. And so I'm going to go from my computer, and let's see, this was in my logo folder. So maybe I should just real quick look at it. My icons. I really don't know what the difference between all these are, but let's go ahead. These are all either PNGs or JPEG. And so I'll select this one. And where do you want to put it? I'm going to put it right here. And just like we were doing before, I'll rotate it. Oh, this is a JPEG, so I don't want that because it's got that background. All right, so let's see, canvas. Where did that go? Let's go ahead and cancel that. And let's try that again. And I should this time look a little closer. So that's what happens with a JPEG. And this time I want to make sure I have a PNG, because a PNG hopefully has that transparent background. So when I go like details, and I just want a PNG right there. I should probably spend more time with this. There's a PNG. Let's try this one. Okay, select the object and then put it where I want to. There it is. Now this was be a good time for my white logo, and I'm going to make this so you can put this anywhere you want. It actually, if you look at it, it'll wrap around your object, which is pretty cool. So you can put on the top or the side, wherever you want to put it, right? And then I'll say okay, and then I'll just create a quick little rendering, and that'll be that. So I'll say okay, and now I'll go into, and so obviously you're going to put your logo, not mine, and then we'd go into here, and we would actually go place this in a interior. So you can either do it like this solid color or pick an environment. And then I would say, all right, for my environment, and you got to kind of play around with this. I'll just randomly try this sharp highlights one. Let's drag it and drop it in there. I think that's what I need to do. And let's get a 3D view of this thing and see what this will look like as a rendering. So I think I'm good. Environment, ground plane, and you just want to play around this. I could put reflections on it. All right, and then just do a quick little rendering. Maybe this might be feels like it's going to be a little dark, and this is kind of half the fun of it. And then I'll just go ahead and say close, and then I'll go to the little teapot here, and I want to make sure that I'm doing a local rendering, and I'm going to, I don't need to do a real big one, and it's going to be a PNG, and I'm just going to basically use the default settings here and say render. And so it usually takes, it takes a couple minutes to render. It doesn't take, depending on how complex and how many light sources, you can add light sources and, light sources with color. So there's a lot you can do with the rendering and have a lot of fun with it. You can see I have this reflection, which is kind of cool. And so this is really the first phase of this. The next phase, the next tutorial I'll do on this wing, we'll add some buttons and a little bit more detail. Maybe we'll make this into a blade where it has a sharp point on the bottom, kind of taper it and things like that. All right, so I think it's done. Let's see if it, there it is. And so then it's a little dark, but now I would just, download it to where I want. So, put it where you want to put it. So I'll just put it in my downloads and I'll just say, and then I'll upload this. So this is my utility blade. All right. So really what we're learning today is just how to use the different kind of modeling techniques so close this, where we're in the design phase, we're just being able to work with this form and just manipulate it. So I will post this online for everybody.